We live in an era where the shape of your body is treated as a proxy for your character. It dictates the respect you get at work, the affection you receive at home, and for many, their intrinsic human worth. To answer that desperation, a wave of injectable weight loss treatments exploded onto the market. These pens offer a medical promise, a seemingly effortless shortcut to the societal validation so many people are starved for. But legitimate access is severely bottlenecked. When doctors refuse a prescription or the cost is locked behind an exorbitant paywall, the desperation remains. It gets driven into the shadows, creating a massive, highly profitable vacuum. This is what happens in that vacuum. A husband terrified of losing his marriage, a warehouse worker tired of endless humiliation, and a young model desperate for a billboard campaign. They all bypassed the legitimate medical system in search of a cure. These individuals stepped into a predatory ecosystem that operated on a single principle, converting their own blind desperation into a tool for their own undoing. For one man, the trigger was a crowded restaurant. He sat silently while his wife openly flirted with the waiter. Later that night, she told him his insecurity was the real problem, and if he took better care of himself, he wouldn't feel so threatened. Terrified she would leave him, he went online at 3 a.m. and ordered unverified diet pills from a faceless website. At first, the dropping numbers on the scale felt like he was finally fixing whatever was broken inside him. The cost, however, was immediate. Food became an enemy. The mere smell of it caused severe stomach cramps. Soon he was gripped by extreme insomnia, waking up in panics, certain he was gaining weight while he slept. His body had entered a severe catabolic state. Because his system was entirely starved, it stopped burning fat weeks ago. To keep his brain functioning, his body began aggressively consuming its own muscle tissue and vital organs. The physical toll became horrifying. He began blacking out, waking up on cold bathroom tiles with blood on his lips. Without realizing it, he was violently scratching himself in his sleep, leaving deep, agonizing claw marks across his stomach as his body frantically tried to signal its distress. He finally collapsed at work. Waking up to the hum of hospital monitors, he checked his phone for the first time in days and found nothing. No missed calls, no worried messages. He had sacrificed his internal organs for a woman who hadn't even noticed he was missing. A similar desperation drove a 34-year-old warehouse worker to a dark alley. He suffered from chronic back pain from lifting boxes all day. When he asked for help online, he was relentlessly mocked, told he looked like he belonged in a warehouse. Doctors simply smiled and dismissed him with generic lectures on lifestyle changes. When an anonymous Telegram post offered half-price injections without a prescription, he didn't hesitate. The instructions were strict: cash only, tonight, behind an abandoned adult store downtown. The stench of garbage and urine filled the alley, but his desire to change his life overshadowed the obvious red flags. As he waited, 2 men stepped out from behind a dumpster, blocking the only exit. They didn't have any medicine. They were hunting. They knew exactly why he was there, banking on the fact that someone buying illegal weight loss drugs would be too ashamed to ever go to the police. They pinned him against the brick wall and stripped him of his wallet and phone. Then one of the men pulled out a syringe. He smiled, grabbed the worker's arm, and told him that if he didn't hand over more money, he was going to inject him with whatever was in that needle and watch what happened. A distant police siren distracted them just long enough for him to fight his way out and run. He escaped the needle, but the reality was chilling. The men in that alley didn't need a complex scheme. They simply relied on the fact that his self-hatred was strong enough to lead him directly into their trap. In New York City, the stakes were entirely different. 3 young women shared an expensive, crumbling apartment, bound by a shared ambition to dominate the runway. Under the intense scrutiny of casting calls and photographers, thinness was a strict career requirement. 2 of the roommates, Emily and Brooke, devised a dangerous logistical workaround. To save money, they started splitting a single prescription. They taped a chart to the fridge in red marker, turning medical dosing into a vicious, paranoid competition over fractions of a milligram. Their bodies couldn't handle it. Severe caloric deficit, paired with complete sleep deprivation, shattered their minds. They stopped sleeping entirely. Ambition mutated into intense hostility. Compliments turned into accusations of stealing doses, and they began viewing each other as direct threats. The breaking point was captured on the apartment's security cameras. At 3:17 a.m., Emily emerged from her bedroom. Suffering from extreme starvation-induced psychosis, she crept down the hallway with the injection pen, her movements completely stiff and unnatural. She entered the bathroom where Brooke was incapacitated on the floor. Leaning over her vulnerable roommate, Emily administered a fatal dose. She whispered, almost affectionately, that Brooke was getting ahead, and she just couldn't let her win. When the third roommate found them, the tragedy was absolute. In their obsessive pursuit of an aesthetic edge, they sacrificed their careers, their basic humanity, and ultimately, a human life. The fallout in each of these stories is bleak. Emily was sent to a psychiatric facility, a husk of who she used to be. The surviving roommate is tormented by nightmares of falling numbers and syringes, and the husband filed for divorce from a hospital bed, permanently traumatized by his own decisions. Across all these lives, the health, time, and future potential destroyed is difficult to quantify. They traded their physical and mental well-being to meet an entirely arbitrary societal standard. The black market thrives by attaching a price tag to the illusion of perfection. It converts a person's deepest insecurities into a profit margin, providing the very tools that lead to their physical collapse. For the husband, for the worker, and the models, all shared a common vulnerability, an identity built entirely on the approval of others. When that foundation is external, any predator promising a quick fix becomes an authority over you. Until the root of that insecurity is addressed, the cycle repeats. These individuals remain fragile, standing in the shadows of their own expectations, ready to pay any price for a miracle cure that doesn't exist.